Okay. I'm not seeing the script for the, oh, here it is. Okay. So as we formally launch the service, we do so with the lighting of the Christ candle. With gratitude, we gather as the unique expressions of the divine presence that we are. We pause to feel into this life force that invites us to be a creative partner with it. We now allow it to fully embody within our whole being. We also sense and feel the connection that exists between each one of us, the universal web of intelligence that we partake in as the human race. As we appreciate our web of connectivity with one and all, moving from a me to a we focus, we express our desire to unite with all humanity through the energy of compassion and kindness. We invite this energy to now rise up within us while extending outward to connect with Mother Earth and all sentient beings. This uniting spirit of oneness, of the one I am presence, we call the Christ. We light this candle now as a reminder that we are all blessed by being part of this one presence. It is the truth. Let us own it and make it real in our lives. Amen. So it is. Now I invite Reverend Joe to come to the podium for the invocation.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great view from here. Everybody should come up and circle around and see what it looks like. I always wanted to be in showbiz, and this looks like it. I'm not going to sing, but I could. We're here today to celebrate Reverend Jerry Farrell. The man that comes to us from the land of tears and laughter, 40 shades of green, and that's not an exaggeration, by the way. There's more than 40,000. And the land of the little people. You know the little people, the dwarfs, and I never got around to asking Jerry whether or not he believed in the little folk. I probably shouldn't. It's a very personal thing. Some people see him, some don't. I've always liked that conversation between the Englishman and Irishman. The Englishman says, "What?" He says, "You don't really believe in the little folk, do you? The fairies and all that, you know?" Oh, he says, "No, I don't believe in them, but they're there." And that's exactly what I believe. I have a little psalm written by another Irishman, Father Edward Hayes. I use a lot of his things all the time, and the print's rather small, so I'm using these glasses for the first time in my life. O blessed one who created calendars and clocks, today is a special day. Come and show us how to make each hour a feast. May the meals we share today be true adventures in taste. Let the delight in every flavor at the special gift of the moment. May this day be a feast for our eyes as we drink in the vast range of colors, forms, and textures of all the things we see. Gift us on this day of celebration with fresh, cleansed eyes, open to beauty and alive with wonder. On this special day, may we also feast as never before in the joy of those we love and with whom we share our lives. May this feast day be a holiday of love for our community of family and friends. In these and in all ways, may this day, created by you, be truly a feast day. And so it will. Now we have a reading of the daily word.
The daily word today is an important one: world peace. I hold a vision of a peaceful world. The peace I wish to see in the world begins in my own heart. To call upon the peace within me and bring it into the world, I use my spiritual gift of love to feel in harmony with all others. I use my power of imagination to envision the world filled with peace. And through my gift of will, I choose peaceful responses no matter the circumstance. I envision God's healing, loving power enfolding the earth and all its people. As I claim this spiritual vision, my heart is lifted, and it's easier for me to perpetuate peace. The notion that others are holding the same vision of a peaceful world encourages and comforts me. I pray our shared goal of peace on earth touches every heart and mind in every corner of the globe. From Isaiah 26, verse 3, those of steadfast mind you keep in peace because they trust in you. So the affirmation, let us say it together. I'll say it once, then we'll repeat it. I hold a vision of a peaceful world. I hold a vision of a peaceful world. Yes. Thank you. I asked Leslie to coach me. Okay, our prayer list, our prayer intention is that together we set the intention that as each name on our prayer list is read, that person is bathed in love and their highest good comes to them. And so on our prayer list we have Javon and Anadi Swan, Jenny, Sean, Quinn, and Mackenzie Reuter, Ken Cooper, Jerry and Dennis, Chinzia, Joan Arbini, Nancy Chandere, Ava Rose Mora, Bob Strickland, Sally Parker, Elise Tessian, Nancy Kenny, Rhonda Bomar. And we pray for healing and peace in our world, in our nation, for all people, all animals, and our natural world. We pray that families with children will find us, that we may bless their journey, and they will bless ours. We remember the whole of love empowering our prayers. And together, let us pray our unity prayer. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well. And so now it is time for our meditation. As always, let us begin by bringing attention to the breath. Just notice the inhale and the exhale. No need to change the rhythm of your breath, just observe it. Let the chair take the weight of your body. Allow the body to soften and relax. Let go of the tension in your jaw. Allow the tongue to fall to the floor of your mouth. Feel your face soften. Invite stillness and peace to pervade your body. I invite you to bring your attention to the heart space, that beautiful heart chamber where the divine spark within you resides. Notice any sensations as you focus on the central part of your being. You may feel warmth, or stirring, or tingling. With simple intention, invite this divine spark to expand, to fill the body with every inhale. With every exhale, the body relaxes even further. The light within expands with every inhale, and the body releases tension with every exhale. When you're ready with the next breath, allow that heart energy to move beyond the body, to surround your being. Feel into the space around you so that you become aware of the space in front of you and behind you, to your left, to your right, below you, and above you. It's as if the space around you becomes an extension of you. From this expanded state, let us meditate on the cycle of beginnings and endings. Beginnings follow endings, and endings follow beginnings, again and again and again throughout our lives. These cycles, whether brief or long, continue throughout our lives, from the grand beginning of birth to the last ending called death. And what we call death is entry into yet another beginning. Beginnings can be exciting. A new romance, a new home, entry into retirement. Endings can be sad. A marriage collapses. A loved one dies. A friend moves away. Beginnings may be bittersweet. High school graduation, taking a new job, a birthday that marks the roll into a new decade. Endings can also be a relief. The suffering is over. Chemotherapy is complete. A fever breaks. Beginnings can be frightening or filled with wonder as we step into unknown territory. Endings can bring disorientation or satisfaction when an all-consuming goal is achieved. Resistance, whether to a beginning or an ending, brings suffering. Allowance of what is invites life to flow. Accepting that nothing is permanent, that everything changes, brings wisdom and grace to our lives. Is there a transition awaiting you on the horizon? A beginning or ending looming before you? How will you choose to perceive it? What if every cycle, every birth and every death, literal or symbolic, brings its own gifts and its own lessons? What if everything life presents to you is for your highest and best good? What will you choose? Resistance or flow? Before we close this time of meditation, let us join together as one heart. Let us beam our love to Reverend Jerry. Let us bless him as he begins this new chapter of life. And let us thank him for all he has given us as minister of this community called Unity in the Gold Country. And now we bring our meditation to a close. Gently bring yourself back into the room, and you may meditate, or you can remain in meditation or join in the next song, Sanctuary.
Oh, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for me. Oh, prepare me to sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for me. Everybody, oh, prepare me be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, and in thanksgiving I'll be a living sanctuary for me.
Thank you, men. That was beautiful. So, spiritual and light, I hate to break this calm silence, but I tend to get noisy when I talk, if that's all right with you. Well, we've dedicated this day to honor Jerry Farrell. Well, we should. He certainly deserves it, more than we could ever give. All the praise and love. And since we will be honoring him later, I will not dedicate this whole lesson to Jerry, for which I'm sure he's very grateful. But he plays a big part in everything that we talk about here. So what I'm going to talk about today is the guiding angels of love that has always blessed us, always brought us all along the way. Blessed Lynn and I to bring us here in the first place. And Jerry has been a part of allowing those guiding angels a space here. We've been welcoming. Look at you all. You're all angels. All angels becoming. You don't want to get there because then you'd be, So you just want to hang in there and be in training. But it's been like that from the very beginning, and even before the beginning. Lynn and I left Unity of Auburn for Unity Village in 1993, and we kind of hoped to come back to Northern California. We didn't think here, but somewhere in Northern California. But God had plans otherwise, and there's so many things along the way. I'll point out just a few that are what I call divine coincidences. We don't believe in coincidences really, but it's a good word. But a divine coincidence. For instance, when we were in ministerial school in the first year, one of our professors had twisted an ankle or broken it or something, and she couldn't get around. And so our class had decided we would provide dinners for her. And Lynn and I took our turn, and it was understood since she couldn't get around, we just come in. And we came in, and she's on the phone talking to Reverend Dr. George Hilbert, who had the church in North Kansas City, nice brick and mortar church on 10 acres. We had been there once. It was somewhat formal, more than we thought we would like. But anyhow, he's talking, and he had a deal where he would get a second-year student every year to act as his associate while you're still in ministerial school. So he was starting to interview people at that point, and Gladys, who knew us and liked us, and said, I have a candidate here. So I made an appointment, went to see him. I went in the side door, which was significant. I didn't go in the front, and it was close to the offices. And where I hadn't been very impressed before, there was something, an ambience about the place I really liked, and a smell, the very particular smell. So I went in to see Dr. Hilbert, and we talked, we agreed, and when I started my second year, I went there. And it was only after I had been there for a while that I realized that wonderful smell was coming from the deodorant dispenser in the men's bathroom. Sucked me right in. God works in wondrous ways. And we saw Dr. Hilbert into retirement and stayed there for a few years after, but always had in mind coming back to Kansas City. So one day I was at the association headquarters and sitting at the desk with a lady who handled assignments and worked with ministers. She gets a phone call from the couple in Kansas City who had attempted a church here, had a church for a while.
Grass Valley.
And what?
Grass Valley. You
What
said
did I say?
Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. I need a lot of help with this. Anyhow, she, from the folks in Grass Valley, and their ministry had dwindled down to, some people said it was the two ministers and a piano player, which, so they were calling to pack it in. And so I went down the hall right after that, borrowed a computer, put in an application to start a new ministry in Grass Valley. And I was somewhat known back then, and they approved it very quickly. And we came back in 2000. We set up a team to get us started. And there was, we met with a couple. They hadn't had a pleasant experience with Unity up to that point. So we met with this couple, took them to the Holbrook because we thought that was the best place, and told them what we were going to do. And they were somewhat still reluctant, but one of them said, "Yeah, why don't you use the Grange that we've been using on Sunday, and we'll start it up." And so we did. They did say at the first meeting that they were going to try us out for 3 months. And Lynn said she could see my Irish come up to about here. And I kind of put it down. Nicely told them that we would love to have them with us, and later on many of them did. Like to have them with us, but we were going ahead anyhow. So immediately start looking for a place other than the Grange. And we had a team doing that all over town. This is a wonderful town, but very poor in parking, and had to reject almost every place we found. Well, we found a place out of town. It was a former Chinese restaurant, of all things. We had the best kitchen of any Unity church in the country. But we were pretty serious about that, and we were, in the meantime, we had, there was the Board of Realtors, which is just up the street, was being used by a church, and we had known that they were going to be there only temporarily while they were moved to another facility. So we signed up, but we were in second in line. Religious science was ahead of us. So anyhow, we were about ready to put a deposit down on this Chinese restaurant. I still laugh. And we get a call from the Board of Realtors saying that the other church had left and the religious science had passed and we could have it. Went there right away. And it was a pretty good facility. It had a platform, plenty of chairs, a little kitchen, had a little room to keep our stuff. But it was still pretty small and not an all day, all week kind of a thing. But there was a building up just 100 yards up above us that we knew it was empty. So Julie Zumwalt, who was our administrative assistant at that time, and I went up there, climbed up the bank, and up there, and here there's an older guy and this good-looking young chick looking in windows. What are they looking for? But we were able to make a deal on that, and like everything that we've done, really, we weren't really taking enough money to pay the mortgage on that, or to pay the rent, but we did it, and we had it. It was good for a while. We did a lot of work on it. Jerry and Dennis were there pounding nails, and by that time we had pretty much had Jerry roped in. He and I had lunch one time, and he was not satisfied with, I shouldn't tell you all this, not satisfied with his boss, having some trouble. And we invited him to speak, and I don't know what I advised him to do. I don't think I would have said just quit, but he eventually did that. And of course, there's a divine surprise in all these things. After he had come on board with us, the lady who was giving him power, she quit the job, so she was going away. God works in wondrous ways. We were happy up on the hill for a while, and then the county moved the mental health into the other half of the building. And they had, some of you may remember, that 2 murders that took place involving mental health. So if you were to go there during the week, we're okay on Sunday, first thing, it was a metal detector you had to go through, which seemed odd for a church. But maybe not so odd. And the front desk had bulletproof windows. So that wasn't too good. So once again, we're looking, and looked everywhere. And in fact, one of the places we looked was on Main Street, and it was they were anxious to have us there. Some kind of a good deal that they would get money from nonprofits, and they would give us some of that money. Seemed odd, but they had a lot of papers showing us that had happened. But just on, not really on a whim, but maybe on a whim, I called the Baptist minister, because Twin Cities were renting some space in that same building, and told him what the deal was. And he said, surprisingly, because I'd never met this man before and haven't seen him since, he said, I know Mr. So-and-so, and he's a friend of mine. He's a member of our church, and I wouldn't do a deal with him. Wipes that out. We find another place in Nevada City had yet to be built, and we invited the congregation to go up and look at the site, and took a vote on the things. We even had a drawing, schematics, and everything. And we'd figured out we needed 12,000 square feet. And then we penciled that out and said, well, maybe 10 would do. And we penciled once again, and it came up to 8,000 square feet. So in the meantime, and we were very close to putting, I think it was $25,000 down as a deposit for starting that. And one morning I was coming up the street here and drove across the street, because we had looked at those buildings over there, just drove around, and I was driving back out, and here's a banner on this building that says, for purchase or lease, 8,000 square feet. Exactly what we needed, say. Of course, we found out later that 2,000 square feet is up here, and you have to be under 5 feet tall in order to utilize it. But we have the Gress, I haven't been there for years, and the best storage space of any church I've ever known. But we made it once again. By that afternoon, we had an agreement with the owner of the property. It was that quick. I grabbed one of the board members and we talked to him. And just as a little aside, that was one of those divine things, but Lynn and her late husband owned the fastest drag boat in the world. And it happens this guy, the owner of this building, was a drag boat guy. And he knew very well who Billy the Kid was, Lynn's husband. And so that's just a little aside. I don't know if that helped with the deal. And here we are. We came here. And all the other little things that have happened along the way, the things that, getting Jerry here in the first place was a little bit tricky, but it was meant to be for sure. What a wonderful job he has done. Just amazing. You can clap at that. And then the story of getting Anon. Jerry gets on a bus going to Unity Village and sits down next to Anon. And she wasn't at the time interested in the church. She was going to do something of her own. And we put out the advertisement, had made a mistake and a misunderstanding in the application. And so we interviewed 3 people, and one of them seemed interesting, so we had offered the job to her, and then because of that misunderstanding, she had backed off. Another divine gift, really. Not to say anything against her, but that was not meant to be. So Jerry and the board redid the advertisement out, and by this time, Anand had changed her mind and came here. And that's pretty much the history of how we come to this very day. All those divine coincidences. Been quite a journey, and the question is, of course, where do we go from here? Or perhaps a better question is, how do we go from here? After an excellent run of ministers, we have been blessed with another, Reverend Armand. It's been said, though, that the minister is not the story. The people are the story. And the minister is just a facilitator. I say just, it's a big job. The facilitator of everybody else's story. And we have been fortunate in having had excellent facilitators over the years. Haven't we, Jerry? You don't have to nod your head, it's good enough. You have to forgive a little bit of humility there, which reminded me of the story. Here it goes. It's not exactly Irish, but it has to do with Notre Dame and humility. Back in the days, if you're old enough, Frank Leahy was a great coach of Notre Dame. They were champions almost every year back in those days. And he had one of his players was a guy by the name of Karl Yastrzemski, good Irishman. And Yastrzemski had been witness to an accident or something, so he was called to court, and he asked Frank Leahy to go with him, and he did. And so they get him up on the stand, they tell the truth, whole truth, and yeah, he does that. And here's this huge guy sitting there, and the judge thought he'd have a little fun. He said, what do you do at Notre Dame? He says, I'm a football player. He says, what position do you play? He says, I play center. I'm a center. He says, are you a good center? He says, Judge, I am the best center that Notre Dame has ever had. So they're out in the hall after, and Leahy says to Yastrzemski, he said, that was a pretty bold statement you made back there. He says, yes, Coach. He said, I hated to do it, but I was under oath. Under oath. True story. I like it when Jerry took the title as lead minister. A lot of people call themselves senior ministers. I always thought that a little funny if they were the only minister there, senior minister. But lead minister was more meaningful. And it made room for other leaders to act within our ministry and to be recognized for that. And we have many great leaders over the years and still have. I have no doubt that that will continue. But for all the good leaders, the great leaders we have had, being a leader, not being a leader, means you still can play a very important part in the ministry. Every one of us has a mission. We have the mission that we are involved in here in the church and our own personal mission. And the one supports the other. Your personal mission depends a lot about how your mission is with the church and vice versa. So it's a wonderful meeting of things. And we are supported by this ministry, and we support the ministry all in many ways. I've always loved that 4T program. We haven't done that for a number of years here, but we did do it at one time, 2 or 3 times. And what it is for those who didn't know, it's a tithing of your time, talents, and treasures. And it was a 12-week course, but you agreed during those 12 weeks you would tithe 10%. So you gave your money at the class, and all the money was recorded and kept track of. And so at the end of the 12 months, 12 weeks, if you felt you were had not gained appreciably from that class, you could ask for your money back. And I think in all the many times I was involved with it, we only one time that somebody ever asked for the money back. And as I said, it was our inspiration for Lynn and I to have the courage to drop everything, jobs and everything else, and head for Kansas City for 2 years, not knowing how we would do it. But we had always been tithers ourselves, tithing of our time and gifts to the Unity of Auburn. And Lynn was the first board president of Unity of Auburn when they first got started. For Lynn, it was when we got back to Kansas City, she was able to get a job as a travel agent, and of course I was full-time for 2 years in school, and you didn't get off in the summer like most colleges. It's all year long, little breaks in between, and so I wasn't available to make much money. But we had, like I said, we had been tithers all along, and after we left, Unity of Auburn gave us a grant, and Lynn's mom and dad, and other things kept coming. In school, you had every minister had a little student had a mailbox, and every now and then you'd go to the box and there'd be $50 or something in there. Churches would donate to the school, and then it would be distributed amongst the students. So somehow we got through. Michael, what was Michael's name? Finally had the church in Sacramento for a while. Michael Moran and his wife Faith, who were saints, both of them, had told me at one time they were going to school and it wasn't going well. They didn't have enough money, and so finally Michael said, "That's it. We're going back to Washington State." And she started laughing. She said, "Michael, we don't have enough money for bus fare for one of us to go back to New York." So they stayed there and became great ministers. We've continued to share of our treasures here on a regular basis, and also in our fundraising adventures that have all been great. And I've never had a large salary anywhere I've ever been, but we have always had what we needed when we needed it. And that's that program of you cannot deny the law, the universal law of giving and receiving, and the law of attraction work. They cannot be proven wrong if you give of yourself and your treasures in a loving way. It cannot help but come back to you. I absolutely promise you. And it's been a great boon in our lives, and it continues to be. And it supports two missions: our mission here, your mission here, and your mission in your own personal life. Temple Hayes, Reverend Temple Hayes, was a great Unity minister. She works not only with Unity churches, but she works with many corporations as a trainer for speaking, presenting, and prosperity. I got new teeth about a year and a half ago, and still not quite perfect. Anyhow, in a little book that she did, and I think we have them in our book still, I know we've had them, it's called How to Speak Unity. And this is what she says regarding prosperity. She says, as we awaken spiritually, we begin to pay attention to everything, everything that comes across our path, the conversations, the gifts, and the surprise encounters are all evidence of the good that flows like a river into our lives. Like a river into our lives. Isn't that a great feeling? Because it does happen just that way. I have faith that the many surprises, some of which I counted today, will still come as they have been for the last 25 years. They will continue. As we give, so we receive. It's the truth. This is an affirmation I'd like to close with. I'll say it first, and then, if you'd like, repeat it with me. Goodness is all around us. Let us open our hearts to see it. Together, goodness is all around us. Let us open our hearts to see it. And I see Jerry Farrell there. Yeah, it worked. God bless all here and all those with whom they trust.
Thank you, Reverend Joe. So it comes to our time of love offering, and as Reverend Joe so beautifully put it, prosperity is ours for the asking. As we give, we shall receive. So if you would join me in our blessing of the offering. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. So if our ushers would come forward and do the collection. In this unique configuration, they'll figure it out. They'll get to you eventually. And I welcome our musicians to play the special music.
This next song is by special request from Joe in honor of Jerry. You've all heard the song. You may not know the melody very well. I'm going to sing it through once, and I'd love it if you all joined us for the second time through. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses fallen. 'Tis you must go and we abide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. We'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, we love you so. Let's do it again. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses fallen. 'Tis you must go and we abide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, we love you so.
They're doing good work, let them continue.
We have blessed these gifts in our hearts, and we dedicate them now to the work of unity in the Gold Country and of unity worldwide. Thank you, God. And now we have the announcements. We want you to be aware of this change. Our office will be open tomorrow, Monday, February 17th. In observance of President's Day, will be closed on Thursday, February 20th. So the day off for the staff will be on Thursday rather than Monday. We're so blessed to have talented Susan Tallarico doing her sun bath meditations. And the next one will be Thursday, February 27th from 1 to 2. A love offering will be provided, and please bring a yoga mat, pillow, and blanket. Because this concrete floor gets a little cold, so you can just sit in the chair as well. It's wonderful. And another one of the gifts that is being offered to our congregation is by Teresia Evans. She's going to do an evening called Connect with Your Inner Stillness. It's an evening of hypnosis with Teresa, who's an ACHE certified hypnotherapist. That's Tuesday, February 18th from 6 to 7:30. Donations accepted and appreciated. Call or text to reserve a spot. And Unity's healing clinics have resumed, and so our next one will be Sunday, March 9th. Christy, would you like to raise your hand? If she is the clinic coordinator, and if you have any questions about any of the healing modalities or to reserve your spot for the March clinic, please see her after the service. Did I get them all? I think so. So with that, let us stand and say our unity prayer. Wait.
What's the routine for after? I didn't, Leslie, how are we doing this?
Well, actually, Catherine and Mary can help direct, but everybody will have the food out for you guys to enjoy. And then hopefully by noon, right, we're going to start the retirement celebration.
So the retirement celebration.
Take a little break. We're going to put the food out. Then we're going to have 2 lines where you can come and serve yourself, sit down. And we're hoping to have everything set up no later than noon. We're going to start doing that, but it might be sooner. I think it will be. And then just come up and get your plates and get your food and sit down, and then we'll take over from there. Yes.
Okay, did everybody hear that? The retirement celebration will begin probably around noon or maybe a little bit before.
Yes.
So, and anyone on Love Stream, that will be starting about noon as well, correct? Okay, so if you'd like to stand and hold hands, we will say our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And now
And here-
for our closing song.
And here we go. Grace unfold you, Spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, with good through to you. Joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Love be with you. Love be with you. Love be with you. All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take the past and set it free, and share this blessing. Love be with you. Please come to you. Spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Spirit through you. Make good flow to you. Flow renew you. You and me again. Love be with you. 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 Peace hold you. Spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Make good flow to you. Joy renew you. We meet again.